There are two versions of this story. One of them goes that view is to do with the idea of like the French, so you, basically. So view is about you, and also it's an idea of an overview. So you're taking a view of everything in terms of looking down upon someone's marketing story. That, in effect, is a...
But the true story...
That, in effect, is a story concocted to make it sound like we thought about it. The reality is that we had a list of about 15 names that we were knocking around, and all of them were tolerable names for an agency, and we just couldn't decide on which name to pick, so we picked the shortest one, which was View. I was looking for a new venture. I'd come off the back of several years of doing scientific research around computation, so complicated stuff. I had a very good friend at that time called Marcus, who I was fortunate enough to be able to go into business with, and we started what was a technically led business, so we did mainly development work alongside other design agencies, and quickly established a relationship with an agency locally who we work with on a lot of projects, and merging those two companies, that was where View came from.
So I joined several years later. I was employed as Richard's lackey, I think.
That's right.
I initially came in just to do a few days, settled in, saw the opportunity, the great people that worked here, and sort of began to find my feet in my role within the team.
It was very quickly obvious that Dom was very meticulous and organised about the work that he does, and he came at it from an angle that was completely different from the angle that I do myself, and I thought straight away this is a working partnership that can develop really well and that we can build an awful lot out of. And we wanted to have another kind of interesting experience as a team. We decided to go out and jump in some kayaks and go down the Dart, and yeah, it was a relatively inclement day, as I recall. There was a bit of surf, which I'm not sure is the idea with kayaking.
We did all right. No one got lost that day.
No, that's true. We didn't lose. No one was lost. No one was lost at sea. But there were like proper waves.
Yeah,
it was, you know, it was like up and down, and you could surf in on the waves.
That's good.
I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was a good experience. I think everyone liked that one. I don't think anyone was concerned for their life. So that's, you know.
Unlike the torture chamber.
Well, that's it. No, you see, we're considering escape rooms, aren't we now?
Yeah, escape room would be good.
So we should probably check if anyone's like claustrophobic or.
No, deliberately not.
No.
Yeah. That was a nice moment. We had a client who we'd got to the end of a project, and I went round to do the training, and I was kind of jumped, and I wasn't expecting such an emotive show of affection in that way, but I realised what we do by going through our process and hand-holding our clients through that is we enable them to trust and deliver what they need to their bosses, and I hadn't ever really considered the amount of pressure she might have been under at that point, but it also changed my mentality about the value and importance of offering that extra bit of care, that little bit extra education, and that bit of hand-holding.
It's about educating our clients to understand more each time they have an interaction with us. So if we're doing a bit of work for them on PPC, or we're doing a bit of work for them on SEO, or whatever it might be, some aspect of marketing, we're always making sure that they leave that bit of work not only with the benefit of the service that we've delivered, but with more information about how that thing works than they had before they started, so that they're better informed to make a judgment the next time they go about that process. that attitude of providing information, being open, being transparent about what it is we do is absolutely core to the way that we behave. And I think that's something that is different, because it's not our core service is not to educate, but we know that it's vital to do that in order to actually deliver value over time.
Especially with what we do and other service industries, it's how well you can communicate with that person.
Yeah.
And there has to be an element of engaging, humour and like-mindedness to that, which we can only do by laying our cards out on the table and saying this is who we are, which is kind of exposing in a way, and really rewarding when you find the right people in another.
Both of us, right? We've got lives and we've got kids, and no, but you know what I mean. We've got lives, we've got mess. Life is a messy thing.
Yeah.
Not that kind of mess. Everyone has that stuff, and because of the fact that, as directors of a business, that stuff exists. You either go, everyone who we engage with this has to live by a different set of parameters than me, or you go, we all have this stuff.
We're in it together.
We've all got to get from point A to point B, and we've got to do that in the most efficient and energetic and engaged way that we can. We try and pop out and have a drink. We try and do things that are fun together, and we try and not take the whole thing too seriously, because it's vitally important that the businesses that we work with succeed, but it's also important that within the environment that we're working, we recognise that there are more important things than websites in the world. And in our lives, there are challenges that we have to face that are more important than a website on that day.
That's the new strapline.
There are more important things than websites in the world.
Yeah.
Digital marketing, digital schmarketing. You learn through making mistakes. We've learned an awful lot in the last 10 years.
I think it's really hard to identify what is the high value stuff when you're growing a business.
Yeah.
Because you start a business and you start doing something, and whatever that is, that's the job, that's not growing the business. And it's really hard to pull yourself away from the thing you love if you're trying to grow a business. Setting goals, I suppose, is important from that point of view, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've found that we're well aligned in the values that we talk about as part of this company, and those things aren't necessarily related to the products and services we deliver. They're about what we get up for every day, and how we want to come across to the world and what we want to deliver. So I would say make sure if you're starting out, you need to have that vision, you need to have that understanding of what you want to achieve. You're going to need to be dogged about getting there. But the people that you engage with, the people that you bring along on the journey, they need to get what you're trying to do in order to achieve it.
There are many things. All the ones coming to the top of my head are things that feel like they might prompt legal action if I mention them on a video.
There's interesting. It's an interesting point, that, because when I think about the calamitous mistakes that get made in the workplace,
yeah.
I'm
glad you didn't say the calamitous mistakes that you've made in the workplace.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I will hold my hands up to 95% of those.
Yeah, that's fine.
One of them that I would not do again is accidentally put a website live.
Oh, yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
But when I look at those, they're always meant with the best intentions, and they're normally about somebody wanting to learn something, and you only really learn by stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that you can't do. And if we're trying to enable growth and development in people, we have to give people those opportunities to make mistakes, and you have to nurture an environment where you can do that.
So, proofread, that's what I would say.
That's a good one.
The proofreading is such an underrated art, because the number of times that you you get 4 or 5 people who are all competent and all have a reasonable level of understanding of the English language to read through a thing, and it still says first things first. You then think, well, how has that got through? That's ridiculous. And so, like, professional copyright, professional proofreading is a thing that, you know, is massively underrated. Running a business right is a stressful thing to do on many, many levels. It can be stressful about finances, it can be stressful around delivery of work, it can be stressful in lots of different ways, but there are certain aspects of it that are perpetually a joy, and one of those is that you get to work with brilliant people, and those people, you get to be part of their journey and see how that pans out. And, you know, whether that's people who've joined along the way and left, whether it's the original directors of the company, whether it's apprentices we've had who've come in and they've hit a level and they've gone on to really great careers elsewhere. That side of running a business is something that really massively motivates me to continue to do it and to enjoy it for another 10 years.